within Mail here. One is that when you write an email to anyone within the program, as you start typing the email, it will autocomplete for you. And so have access to anybody within our program just by starting to type the name of that person in. It does only work with names, so you can't search by prefix of the URL and have it open. The other thing I wanted to do a quick run through on is...
Sorry, Will.
Labels. Yeah.
Sorry, Will. We're just having a little trouble hearing you. If you could speak a little bit louder, please.
Yeah, sure. Is that much better or no?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay. So I just also want to do a quick run through of mail labels. And essentially labels are folders. So if you create a new label, you can think of a new folder, maybe we'll call it webinar. And you can also nest them if you ever want to do that, if you're really an organized person. And then you can just click create, and then you will find your new label or folder on the side here. And if you ever want to put mail into that folder, you can just drag and drop. And it's really that easy. And I'll just move along now quickly into Calendar and just run through how to send invites, how to create reminders. So the calendar invite, you can click on any day or time that you want to make your invite for, and it opens a quick event. I find I always end up having to click more options because this doesn't allow you to add people to an invite. So you can either click on more options here, or you can just click on the create event. And from here, then you can make your event, webinar, add a description. You can add guests. If you have lots of calendar events or you use it often, your most frequently included people come up by default. And then you just quick save, and it will, if you click here, send, it'll send email invitations out for that calendar event. Or you can also choose to create reminders, which may be useful down the road when deadlines or webinars are coming up. Maybe you want to have a reminder for yourself. And in that case, I often use the quick event here. So we'll just say new webinar and then save. Okay. And so again, moving along out of Calendar here into Drive. If you're not familiar with Google Drive, it's kind of a hybrid version of, say, Dropbox or Microsoft OneDrive. You can create all of your Google-related documents here. So if you click on New, you can have a Google Doc, or slides, folders, and you can use it for file backups as well. So I'm not going to get into that very much right now, but if you do have questions, please feel free to ask. And I'm just going to move right along into Slack. So Slack has desktop clients for Windows and for Mac. I'm not entirely sure if they have it for Linux, if we have any Linux users out there. But they do have a web version, and our workspace is AIP 2018 at slack.com. And this will just load our Slack instance right up in the web browser. We have predefined channels that just helped keep our conversations organized a little bit. I've seen that many of you have started posting in the breakout discussion for the Internet of Things module, so that's awesome. And if you have any questions regarding Slack, again, please feel free to pick that up later on in the QA. But right now, I'm just going to stop my portion here and pass it on to Benita, who's going to discuss the LMS.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, everyone. I hope your evening is going well and your week has been going well too. Can you hear me okay? Just someone post in the chat if you can hear me okay. All right, great. Someone says they can hear me. So I'm just going to walk you through how to use the Learning Management System, or the LMS. And I'll walk through basically all the steps that you probably already gone through and some that you may not have been aware of so far. And if you have any questions, post in the chat box, or we'll also go over them during the Q&A session. All right, so first things first, to access the LMS, you may already be aware and you've all registered. You go to aiip.alueducation.com, where you'll be prompted to enter your login details, so your email and your password. I took the liberty of already signing into this, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to show you guys an instance where I already have logged into this. Just give me 1 second, and I will try and find this. All right. So all right. So assuming you put in your email address and your password correctly, this is what you would see. So first thing is the homepage, where we don't have any updates or news so far. Everything's going well. So if we were to have any updates or handouts, this is where you would see information on the first place you'd see it. The next place you probably would navigate to or have navigated to is the course page, which is where all the content lies for the program. Right now, we have all the Python content loaded up in there. You'll notice that the different units for each section is listed. So industrial internet would be the section. Unit 1 is industrial internet. Same thing for command line interface. Version control has multiple more units underneath. And then this programming with Python section also has multiple units underneath. So if I were you, I would see any important dates or deadlines, you'd see them on this panel, and then you could then proceed to access the course information. Now, to go into the course, I'm just going to pick here a random unit. So let's go to Git and GitHub Basics. While that opens, all right. So Git and GitHub Basics has multiple units, as you saw before in the course outline. So I'll point out to this panel right here. What you have is a bunch of different icons and then a previous and a next button. What this does is it allows you to navigate from one unit to the next. So I could literally either hit on the icon for the next section or just go to next, and it will take me to the next section. A note about the icons, excuse me. If you see a book, it implies that it's a section with text that you should read through. A pencil like this means that there's some work that you need to put in. So there'll be questions, for instance, multiple choice questions that you need to go through, or an exercise that you need to complete. There's also another icon for videos, which is not in this section, but let me see if I can go back to a section that has it, so you can see what it looks like. So I know for sure, or let's see if my memory serves me right, because I just looked through this a few minutes ago. So if you go to version control, yes, my memory is right. There's a video, so this icon will imply that there's a video in that section that you can watch. So say you're navigating and you forget where you were before, but you know what kind of content was there. You could either go back to the icons on the panel and just navigate back, or if you go back to the course, you will see this button here that says resume course that you can click on, and it'll take you back to where you were. Or you'll see this marker right here that says resume course, which I just left version control. So this will take me back to where I was before. So if you want to come back tomorrow or over the weekend, you can always pick up where you left off. Now that we're on this page, the other thing I'll point out is the assessment page. So it's clearly marked here for the Python, the summer assessment. So when you're ready, you can navigate to that section of the course. And when you open it, it has, again, the pencil icon, meaning you have to submit something. And then it has some instructions on what you need to do. For this summative, you're going to watch a video, walk through some problems. And when you're done with these problems, you're going to create content that you push onto GitHub. Now, once it's on GitHub, what you're going to do is you're going to come back to this LMS and paste the link to your GitHub repository for the assignment that you've completed. And then once that's done, you can make your submissions and then mark as complete to indicate that you're done with the summative assessment. Now, the mark as complete button, I'll just mark it. Once you're done, it goes into unmarked. So you know that you've completed that section. We know you've completed that section, or your moderators know you've completed it. And it's present throughout the different units of coursework. So you can always mark where you've gone and mark the progress. All right. So I'll move on to the other sections up in the LMS. On the top panel, you'll see a discussion section. So Will mentioned earlier that some people have been discussing on Slack on the prompt that he posted. Now, in statistics, once you get started, you will see some discussions that go on here. So we'll have a post that's created on there, and you can join the conversation. So we have one already for IoT in Africa. Now that you have someone put in a comment on there about the discussion, you can go in, add a response, type in, I'm gonna delete this, but interesting point. Sorry. Interesting point, submit. And your response is logged underneath all the others. If you like someone's responses, you can upvote, just hit the plus sign, and it'll always come up as a more popular one. So everyone who logs in will be able to read more about what the person thought. You can track your progress in the progress tab. For the prerequisites, we have 2 summative assessments. So one is the Python summative assessment, and then one is the statistics summative assessment. Once all of these are reviewed by your moderators, you'll see your grades on here. And then as you go through the practice questions, right now, this example account hasn't done any of the questions, so everything's 0 out of 1 for all the questions. But as you fill them out, you'll be able to see which sections you haven't answered. And if you want to go back, you can always go back and complete those questions. And then moving on, there's this tab also for AIP related documents. So we have your student handbook, which we had emailed earlier. You can always come back here to refer to it. And then we have the prerequisite learner guide as well. So you can always come back here to see dates or any just general information about the prerequisites or the program. And finally, office hours. Josiah and Immaculate have communicated this before, and some of you have already attended office hours, but you can find information on the standing office hours on here, and you can see information about the moderators. And of course, if you have direct questions, you can always go to the Slack channel for prereqs and chat with them there. Right, that's it for the prerequisites, the learning platform demo for now. So I'll hand over my screen back to Adam. And
Perfect. Thanks, Bonita. All right, so what we want to do, I suppose, for the rest of the hour is have a Q&A. If there's anything, you can drop off if you want. If you want to hang around and see if there's any questions that come up. Otherwise, please bring your questions. I think it would be best if you ask your questions out loud as opposed to put them in the chat box, just to make it a little bit more interactive. So I suppose first come, first serve. Whoever wants to, just remember to unmic yourself, and then let's see what we can do. Anybody got any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, if you do have any issues from the tech side, please remember the hashtag tech-support channel on Slack. You can post your questions if you have any issues on that. If there aren't any questions, we're just going to end this webinar because it's mostly Q&A if you have any problems. Like I said, there are no such things as a dumb question. Rather ask your question now than sort of wait a couple of months and then figure out that you could have done something else a better way or you missed something. Okay. Perfect. Looks like we don't have any questions. So again, if you need anything, please reach out to us on Slack or our emails, and we'll chat soon. Thanks for your time this evening. Enjoy your night.